Hello and welcome to the second round of the HSBC UK National Women's Road Series. Now, Lincoln never fails to attract the very best riders, and it's a pretty unique one for the women's peloton. We're one round down now in the series, and those rivalries are set to continue today out on the cobbles. But looking back at that opening race of the season, well, it provided some stunning action. At the Klondike Grand Prix, it was Anna Henderson, the national circuit race champion, who crossed the line first after riding an attacking race. Well, after that tactically astute win, here's how those series standings look. This year's HSBC UK National Road Series is made up of 8 races across the country. At each round, there are 30 points up for grabs for the winner. And the rider with the most points at the end of the series wins the crown. It's as simple as that. Well, of course, such a busy time of year. How are you reflecting on the back of Yorkshire?
Yeah, it's been a really tough race, obviously. For me, it was a technical challenge. My wheel was locking up, my back wheel was locking up quite a lot in the wet, so I was having lots of extra issues, as well as the physical challenge of that stage, but it was just so brilliant to see the women racing in that way and to see them finishing in Scarborough and the waves crashing, and it was just a really epic race. Really loved it.
Coming into races wearing this jersey and fresh off a win at the Tour Series as well, confidence must be flying high.
Yeah, pretty confident, and the team's been going really well for the start of the season. So yeah, we're looking forward to coming back to the British soil and racing here today.
And everyone talks about the Lincoln Grand Prix course, don't they? I mean, where are the really decisive points and what do you make of it?
Yeah, I really enjoy this race, and I guess, the Michaelgate is the big decisive worry when you come into the bottom, and then, it's always pretty hard up there, so you've got to make sure you're at the front going into that every time.
Well, it's fair to say you've got plenty of options today here in Lincoln. How do you balance that as a team?
Yeah, it's obviously challenging. Every rider wants to win. We are a team, but as we know, every rider has their own individual ambitions. They deal with it themselves, really. We don't never start a race with a designated leader. Everyone has their own opportunity to win the race, and so far it's worked. And that's how we're going today.
You're leading the series. Beck's won here last year. You've got so many options in the team, but how marked does that make you as riders?
Obviously, we will be marked. Obviously, with me in a different jersey, I probably will be wanting to follow my wheel, but we're such a strong team that hopefully it shouldn't be an issue.
What do you make of the Lincoln course?
Oh, it's epic, isn't it? You got the Michaelgate, the crowds are just epic, they just make it, to be honest.
This is a great race, with the Michaelgate climb always makes such an exciting race, like 8 times, cobbles, steep. Something I really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's a lot more about positioning and I suppose tactical racing opposed to just a war of attrition, which it was a bit like at Klondike. So yeah, totally different race.
This course is probably the best known race circuit in British bike racing. The peloton faces 8 laps of a gruelling course. The race starts in Castle Square, heading out of Lincoln to Burton Village. The riders face a fast descent here before heading through narrow twisting roads to Saxelby Road. If it's windy, this is always tough. They race back towards Lincoln on Longleys Road before the fearsome 1 in 5 climb of Michaelgate to be covered on each of the 8 laps. It's brutal. In 2018, it was Rebecca Durrell who crossed the line first. The cathedral city of Lincoln in the East Midlands is a bustling, vibrant city which is steeped in history and has been home to the Chestnut Homes Lincoln Grand Prix since 1956, one of the longest running races in the British cycling calendar, with this year's race being the 64th edition. With its magnificent historical sites such as the medieval cathedral, 11th century Norman castle and historic Roman gate alongside one of the country's top universities, it's no wonder it attracts over 4 million visitors a year, with cyclists in particular coming from all over to tackle the iconic cobbled climb of Michaelgate. This hill always proves influential to the racing, not least on the race's 60th edition, where Lincoln played host to the 2015 National Championships, attracting over 30,000 people into its gates to cheer on Lizzie Armitstead and Pete Kenyuk to their victories. Let's hear from last year's winner on her hopes for today. How do you reflect on your win here last year? Does it feel like a year ago already?
Oh, it's just absolutely flown by. I can't believe it's here again already. But yeah, it's a bit of pressure to try and do well again this year, but just excited to get racing now and see what it brings.
Well, the riders are rolling out now towards that start line as we anticipate another exciting day of race action here in Lincoln. Sunny skies for the rollout of round 2 of the HSBC UK National Women's Road Series today, and I'm delighted that sitting next to me in commentary is Olympic gold medalist Danny Rowe. Now, I've got to start by saying the weather's a bit better than the last time you won a round of this series.
Yeah, a lot better. The last time I rode was the Tour of Reservoir in 2015, and I'm pretty sure I got hypothermia after the race. It was snowing.
It was pretty bad that day, wasn't it? But we've seen that neutral start as the riders roll to the start proper at the top of Michaelgate. How important is that early positioning?
Yeah, I think it's actually crucial. You can see that the rides start super quick, and it's always good to be attentive, stay out of trouble, and be ready for any attacks that are launched straight away in the race.
And we've got 111 starters today, and not only starters, but so many riders in contention. And we've just seen the women's scene grow and grow domestically, haven't we?
Yeah, it's incredible to see the strength and the depth in the UK women's peloton really grow. When I was riding, there was probably about a max of 60 riders per round, so to have over 100 is just incredible.
Pfeiffer Georgie of Team Sunweb taking to the front there, and things are starting to string out as we see actually a gap form behind this front group. And it just seems to me that there are options now within so many of the top teams, and chatting to the team of the current leader, Anna Henderson, brother UK Tifosi, they've got last year's winner in Bex Durrell. She's been up there at Lincoln so many times, and of course they're protecting Anna as well. So it's interesting to see how they're going to play it today.
Yeah, I think the racing in the UK is really changing, and you're seeing teams ride together as opposed to kind of individually. That strength and depth in the team means they can have different plans throughout the race and also change the plan within the race. There are just so many strong riders throughout the teams in the UK, and it's so good to see.
Bex Durrell from brother UK Tifosi on the front there, and she's just in such fine form at the moment. And it's interesting to see the tactical approach she takes to Michaelgate, because we've got those gutters that sort of emerge part way up, and people want to make sure they get as smooth a line as possible, and she always goes for that gutter, doesn't she?
She does. I think you've got to be careful riding in the gutter, because sometimes you can clip a pedal on the side of the curb. But yeah, like you say, Rebecca Durrell always tries to ride in that gutter. She's a local girl, she's practiced the course, she won it last year, and she knows exactly how to ride that climb.
And we've, of course, mentioned Bex Durrell there, a big, strong team around her, but just behind her in shot there was Pfeiffer Georgie. She's a solo rider from Sunweb today. How much difference does that make?
Yeah, it definitely makes a big difference, and obviously with the colours of Sunweb on her shoulders, she will be one that will be looked at throughout the race, and she will just have to use other teams to kind of ride off the back of, and actually she can just sit back. She's on her own, and she can kind of use that card and play that card throughout the race, follow, and then make her move when she needs to.
And we've just seen a big move on the left-hand side of the screen there, which is Annalene Bosma of Team LDN. She really timed that perfectly, came from behind, got a lot of people by surprise there.
Yeah, that was a perfect attack. Like you say, from behind, you catch people out, you can get a gap, and then people are looking behind who's going to chase. And I think it's great to see someone not afraid of tacking. She's given it a go, and if she doesn't think she's confident in a cobble climb in this sort of finish, why not try and get away, form a gap, and give herself the best chance of a good result in this race.
And I think that's something to note as well, that we often see a lot of crowds on the top of Michaelgate. We know that that's such a part of the tactics, and of course an important finale into that finish with the cobbles, but there's a lot of other places on this course to make a move, really.
Yeah, definitely, and you have to work to your strengths. If the finish is up a climb, especially a cobble climb, and you're not confident in that sort of finish, you're more of a time trial rider, or maybe you use the wind to your advantage, then that's what you have to do. So again, it's great to see riders using different parts of the course and not just waiting for that prestigious Michaelgate climb.
Yeah, really, really strong move there, perfectly timed, and as you say, really good to see such a range of riders just animating this race. But we did see behind there a couple of riders coming across, notably Dame Sarah Story was there as well. But you can really see things changing and chopping around at the front, and we've got 3 very strong riders out at the head of the action now. It looks like Joscelin Lowden of Brother UK Fusion RT, followed by Fife for Georgie of Sunweb, and in the familiar shape of the National Championship jersey, that's Jess Roberts. But a little bit more strength in numbers now as we see the riders behind actually join together to make a bigger front group, and that is Anna Henderson, of course, in that white leaders jersey.
Yeah, and you can see they're really working well together at this point. There's no cat and mouse going on. They're really committing for this break to stay away before they start playing games into the finish. And you can see the 2 riders from Brother Tifosi haven't probably picked their kind of A winner, whether it's going to be Anna Henderson or Bex Durrell. So it's great to see them really collaborating together before the finish.
And this is a really, really dangerous group to let get away, isn't it, Danny? And we actually see now a larger group behind, and they are absolutely drilling this because they don't want that gap to lengthen.
No, like you say, this group behind, it doesn't look like they're collaborating really well together. There's no kind of through and off situation that you've got here at the front, but the riders will have to get their heads down. You can see them looking around at each other. A couple of riders getting on the back now. You've got 2 from Brother Fusion team, 3 actually now. So yeah, this is getting dangerous, and they're going to have to really work well together to make sure this doesn't come back.
Well, it's Joscelin Lowden from Brother UK Fusion drilling on the front of Michaelgate, something we're so familiar with from this rider because she really has such a smooth style, not only on the cobbles but every climb that she fights for. She does tend to make it look very leisurely.
She does, and I think it's really interesting. You see a lot of riders now putting strength and conditioning into their programs with a lot of kind of core stability to make sure they're getting all the power through the pedals, through their legs. They're not rocking and rolling on their upper bodies to make sure that they can get everything out through their legs, and you can see this here with the style of the riders. They look really classy.
And it's Alicia Speak we can see there in second wheel to Lowden. She's having a really, really strong ride today. Obviously made this break. Bit of communication going on at the front at the moment, Danny, as we get a glimpse of the other riders that are keeping Joss Lowden company. Representation from Team Prix there. And then it's Henderson, the leader, who's having a little bit of a chat there with Lowden.
Yeah, and I think she's telling Joss Lowden to just get straight off the front to keep the brake rolling and consequently the pace high, rather than just sitting on the front and disrupting the flow of the brake.
So as we enter the penultimate ascent of Michaelgate, we now have a front breakaway group of 8. And it's Josie Knight of Team Breeze that is tackling the cobbles head on there in the middle, Danny.
She is straight through the middle, and I'm not sure that's the best place to be. I think if it was me, I'd try and be in the gutter where the ride is smoother and you can probably get more power out and go faster as a consequence. You can see Jess Roberts probably got a bit more power than the Team Breeze rider, Josie Knight, than she can deal with it. But again, they're just giving it everything. You can see Lizzie Holden is struggling. She's slipped off the back of this group, but hopefully for her, they will kind of start looking at each other in the last lap, and it might give her the chance to get back on. But at the moment, they are definitely all giving it 100% to get over this climb in the best position they can in this small group.
Talking about the line you would have chosen there, Danny, how much would this race have suited you?
Yeah, I'm actually really gutted that I never rode this race. I think this would have suited me down to the ground, short power climb. So yeah, one that maybe I'll have to make a comeback for.
Well, it is all about the power there as well, isn't it? Because you kind of factor in that distance and the gradient and the cobbles as well. And we see the likes of Joscelin Lowden actually just start to gap everybody just in that pure power that she's got.
Yeah, and it is probably between a minute, 2 minutes of max power. So if you were coming into this race, you'd make sure that in your training, you're working on that kind of power throughout your efforts.
A glimpse of Lizzie Holden there of team drops on the back of that breakaway there as we see Josie Knight pull through from Team Breeze. And we've talked about the power, we've talked about the technique as we see Joscelin Lowden's got quite a sizable gap going there, her familiar smooth style. But Anna Henderson is so tactically astute. She always knows the best place to be. We can see her just sitting in tight, not going for too much on Michaelgate at the moment, but just making sure she's looking around her.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what it's all about. It's not all about having the best power, it's about knowing how to ride the bike and when to use that power critically. And coming from a skiing background, she's also not scared. She goes round the corners really quick and also down the descents, which is such an advantage in this type of race.
Well, speaking of Anna Henderson, we've just seen her close down that gap to Joscelin Lowden, who was riding away a little bit there. But on the back, we saw Bex Durrell. She's pulling through now, but we've seen her kind of sitting quite comfortably in that group. Could that be a sign of the tactical plan for the team?
Yeah, definitely. I think at this point in the race, you have to be really open and honest with your teammates in terms of who it is that they're going to be riding for. They need to know who's going to be kind of closing these breaks. You're seeing Anna again on the front here and Bex coming through, but they both look super focused, and I think today you are going to see Anna riding for Bex. She is the local girl, she knows how to ride this cobble climb, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
And how difficult is it as a part of a team to really manage those priorities? Because when you have got the overall series in mind and that leader jersey, but equally an individual that suits a particular race, is it all down to that team meeting?
Yeah, I think it's about having a meeting prior to the series, before each series, and then again, like I said, on the road. You could, want to come into a race and win that race, but actually have a bad day. So I think that's what makes a really good teammate. And it comes round, you'll have a good day or a bad day, and the team will then be riding for you. So it's about being trustful and, having that kind of open communication with your teammates to get the best out of each other.
Big effort there from Emma Lewis, the teammate of Joscelin Lowden of Brother Fusion. She's just bridged that gap and made it across. That was a super strong ride from her, and we know that she can time trial very well.
Yeah, she featured really well in the National Time Trial Championships that I rode last year. But I think Joss Lowden, her teammate, is actually putting her under a bit of strain here. She's just made it on the back and they're going up this drag. They're all trying really hard there, and most of them are out of the saddle. And this is kind of the last big push. You can see Anna trying to close that gap down, coming then into the final of the race.
How heartbreaking is it though when you make contact, you're finally there, and then somebody injects that pace?
Yeah, it's gutted, especially if it's your own teammate. But I don't think Joss Lowden would have actually seen her kind of make junction with the back of that group. And again, it's just kind of teamwork into her best chances as well at this point.
And as we approach the closing kilometres of the race today in Lincoln, we're down to 6 riders. You can just see how not only that injection of pace, but how strongly this group is riding together. There's not many people that have got a chance to bridge across and stay across.
No, and you can see Bex Durrell there fighting for her teammate's wheel with Fifey Georgia. So yeah, she's coming round to the right of her, and Anna's going to move across now to try and give her the best lead out into the bottom of this cobbled climb.
Because this is where it really counts, isn't it, Danny? We of course know how difficult that climb is, but it's the positioning into it as well.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to use your power too soon. So Bex Durrell's got an absolutely perfect situation on her hands now, coming into this left-hand bend where the cobble climb starts, with Jess Roberts on her wheel, and she's just going to have to give it everything from the bottom where Anna will drop her off.
Well, it's pretty clear what the orders of the day are for that team, but you mentioned Jess Roberts there, we've got Pfeiffer Georgie and Anna Henderson there. She's delivered her job, she's dropped off her teammate Bex Durrell.
Yeah, and that is just an outstanding performance there from Anna Henderson, and exactly what a lead out should look like. Once you've done your job, you should be sitting up and not being able to go anymore. So for her now, it's just about getting to the top of this climb.
And it is Bex Durrell leading the way once again in that gutter. She knows how to win this, but Jess Roberts, a very strong force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and Jess is deciding to ride on the cobbles there, but Bex in the gutter, so we'll see who makes it around this last corner in first position.
Both incredibly strong riders. Jess Roberts, the current national British champion in those championship stripes. She's very easy to spot in the peloton. A tactically astute rider as well as strong. And who is going to crest that hill first? We've got a glimpse of Pfeiffer Georgie here and Joscelin Lowden, but there are two riders up the road ahead as they take that final turn, and it is Bex Durrell that takes it from Jess Roberts, second year in a row.
That was an incredible effort there from Bex Durrell. Got lots of support out there on the roads, and she's done it again. What an incredible performance. Amazing to do it once, but absolutely phenomenal to do it twice.
Third there for Joscelin Lowden and Pfeiffer Georgie in fourth.
I can't quite believe it, to be honest. It hasn't quite sunk in yet. But yeah, absolutely over the moon. And I've had so many family members come to watch. I'm a local girl, so I live in Metheringham, not too far away. So there's so many people around the course, and it just gives you that extra boost. And you know, when you do win, it makes it all worthwhile. You feel like you've given back to the people that support you. So yeah, it feels really good.
And at what point during the race did you think, I've definitely got this?
To be honest, I didn't. It was there were so many strong girls in that breakaway at the end. It was a case of thinking, you know, the potential is there. I just have to do everything right, and that's quite difficult to do. But I think once I was at the bottom of Michaelgate and me and Jess were head on head, it was a case of thinking, I can just get this, and it was a case of just hanging on to the line. And as I said, having the family and friends here just gave that extra little boost.
Confirmation of the final result in Lincoln. It was Rebecca Durrell in first, taking a second stunning victory, and in second it was Jess Roberts, followed by Joss Lowden. Let's have a look at what that's done to the overall standings after 2 rounds. Well, it is Rebecca Durrell that sits with 54 points, and Joss Lowden equally on 54, and in third there is Anna Henderson. And topping those team standings, it's brother UK Tifosi, powered by On Form, with 134 points. Well, it's been a brilliant day here in Lincoln, with yet again that stunning victory going to Bex Durrell. The next round of racing takes place on Sunday the 9th of June in the form of the incredible off-road Sickle Classic. Why not join us on the roadside and support all the riders in the race, or tune in once again here for all the race highlights. In the meantime, you can keep up to date with everything you need to know over on britishcycling.org.uk and by following that hashtag National Road Series. From all of us here in Lincoln, goodbye for now.